Hey, we're back, and we have literally not moved at all.
Pretty much.
We're still waiting for one more person to go do a heroic level 4 thing. I'm gonna have to go buy some new.
Because we all know level 4 is the most heroic level.
But of course, actually, I can have her go sell my junk. Bye, crazy lady. She's interesting.
Yeah. I think weren't you mentioning at one point you were asking like about the Versus series I and some other people do. You were asking about I don't know. I think you mentioned something about how we pick our characters or something like that.
Right.
Well, can we get back to that?
Sure.
What was your question again?
It was kind of like basically just how you decide who. Because I think the question actually started with no one really did anything on Shatil.
Right.
And so from there it was kind of like, so how do you choose who to do versus with?
Well, I actually like to go off of suggestion, you know, from like my subscribers or just comments, and some of them I do just think of, but a majority actually of my Versus series are from suggestion because I think a lot of people have some pretty cool ideas. And the way I look at it is, you know, I'll look in the comments or I'll look in like my messages and see some suggestions, and if I see one that's like, oh hey, that would be an entertaining video, I just up and do it. For the most part, I mean, there are a few of mine I just kind of think of, like the Kyle Katarn and the Syndrolic one, or the Jaden Core and the
I need to see the Kyle Katarn one. I remember seeing that one, and I haven't watched it yet. Kyle Katarn is one of my favorite characters.
Oh.
I was I mean, I have to tell you, I was shocked and amazed because I played the Jedi Knight. I mean, you know, since Dark Forces. I was a huge fan of the Jedi Knight games. And then when I found out that he was considered a canon character in the books, I was like, wait, what? I always thought that the Jedi Knight Outcast games and all that were not considered canon until I found out that he was in the extended universe.
Oh yeah, they're definitely considered canon. Oh yeah, and so you like Kyle Katarn?
Oh my god, I love Kyle Katarn, especially since he kind of embodies, like, one of my biggest theories with the Jedi, and I could be wrong on this, but one of my biggest theories with the Jedi was one of the reasons why they have so many of them that fall is I don't necessarily agree with their idea of trying to ignore or not feel or not deal with anger and hate and all that, because I always believe that the fact that they try to pretend or try to just ignore them, like how to say it, not let anger and fear and all that touch them, that when they ever do experience such intense emotions, they don't know how to deal with it. And that's part of the reason why they fall so much. And one thing I've always liked about Kyle Katarn was his idea that, you know,
abilities are not like inherently good or evil.
Right, the Force is the Force. It's how you use it. So, because I was always under the impression that, you know, like I said, a lot of Jedi fall because they spend their whole life trying to not feel fear and anger and hate, and then something will happen and they don't know how to deal with it. They kind of freak out because they don't know how to deal with anger because they spent their whole life ignoring it.
Right.
So I always kind of liked Kyle Katarn's middle view. You know, it's not, there's no light side, there's no dark side, it's just how you use it.
Right.
Now, I do know that there is, canonically, there is a dark side and there is a light side, but I think it's much more...
It comes from the decisions you make.
Right. Like, and I get a lot of flack for this. Kriana and I get a lot of flack for our other LP because we're doing Sith players, but we're doing light side Sith players.
Yeah.
And we have so many people on YouTube, no, you're Sith, you're supposed to murder, death, kill. And I honestly contend that there's nothing in the Sith code that forces you to be a bad person. Because they use passion. You know, passion leads to strength. But passion could be love just as much as it could be hate. It's just you're passionate about something. So now, while I completely agree that a light-sided Sith would be an extreme rarity, I contend that there's nothing in the code that forces you to be a dick.
Yeah. The whole Sith code. The Sith code is essentially about. It's actually about selfishness in a lot of ways.
That's true.
Through strength I gain power. Through power I gain victory. Through victory my strength. It doesn't actually say, you know, through my saber I will slice your face off.
Right. It doesn't say that it has to be hatred. It could be compassion. Though I assume that because of the way the Sith are, it'd be very rare that it's compassion. But not unheard of.
Whoever's watching this, I want you to go Google Darth Gravid right now. Just go do that.
Why? Who's Darth Gravid?
The viewers will, considering what we just said, and after whoever watching this Googles Darth Gravid, they'll understand what you said.
Oh, so there is someone that actually deals with what I was just saying?
In a way. Didn't really end well for him, but he did.
Poor guy. That's one thing I give BioWare a lot of credit for, that the light side story of the Sith is actually really cool.
Yeah, they do balance a lot of things out pretty well.
What I love most about it is that whenever you run into a Jedi, it's like, you're Sith, I have to kill you. No, I don't really want to fight you. But you're Sith. Yeah.
Well, they're not used to it.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, but you're supposed to attack me. No.
Yeah. It's definitely a fun way to throw a wrench into that.
But yeah, so wasn't Kyle Katarn, I mean, I know he was incredibly powerful by the time you get to, my only real experience with Kyle Katarn is the games. So by the time
he went on to, he served in the war, and he was actually on Luke Skywalker's Jedi Council. He still is, I should say.
So he served in the Yuzhong War?
Extensively.
Oh, wow.
Like, he's up there with, like, Kip Durn and Corran Horn and Luke Skywalker.
See, I really need to read that series. The only thing is, like I said, I can't find audiobooks that aren't abridged, and I hate abridged. They cut out all the character development. They try and leave just the action because that's what they think people want. But yeah, I'll probably just have to sit down and read them sometime because I've heard that it's a very, very good series. Like
it is. Oh, it's very good. It's old, but it's still really good.
I like the idea that they're not.
Like, I mean, if you like Kyle Katarn, I mean, let's just. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but let's just say I've recently made some plans for the future.
Ooh.
So, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. He might be part of it.
Yeah, two of my favorites. I loved Kyle Katarn. I loved Mara Jade. Oh, it was so sad when I found out what happened. I haven't read it.
You should read. Wait till you read the sequence. You're gonna cry.
Oh. I do. I'm curious though about
Yes.
Because Jedi for so long had that you don't get married, you don't have relationships, and Luke was just kind of like out the door with that.
Well, that's kind of what sets Luke's order apart in a lot of ways, and it actually does, in a lot of ways, make them superior to some of the older orders, because although he encourages, wariness of the dark side, he still does encourage things like love and friendships and stuff like that, because that's what he had.
Right. And I mean, in some ways, wouldn't it make him stronger? Because you're at your best when you actually do have attachments to protect. Like,
you have something to fight for.
Don't the Jedi of the Clone War era, don't they seem kind of distant and not caring, kind of?
I wouldn't say distant. I'd say maybe a tad inexperienced with love, but I wouldn't say distant. Because they do, like, even the people from the Clone Wars, they do feel compassion.
Oh yeah,
I just feel it in the same sort of way.
I just watched that. I'm still not sure how I feel about that. That series in the Clone Wars where you found out Obi-Wan actually was in love at one time.
Yeah. Well, actually, it hasn't been the first time.
Really?
There's been a story about him being in love. Like, if you read something like those old Jedi Apprentice books with him and Qui-Gon, like he had a little crush on one of.
Well, hello, Obi-Wan, Mr. Gets around town.
Well, I'm just saying, we're all human.
Right.
He's human.
But that's the one thing I never, I like the Jedi, but I think that in that stance, in the Swtor era too, they're way too harsh. I think that part of it was that they were so afraid of the dark side that they would overcompensate.
In some respects.
But I like that Luke didn't do that.
Yeah, because he learned the mistakes of, what past masters and past orders have made.
So you do think, or at least it was treated like that it was a mistake, that the Jedi shouldn't have been so. Well,
I'm not saying that emotions like that can, are.
Of course, they can lead to loss, right? But maybe that such a harsh stance might not have been the best way to go.
Yeah, there has to be some middle ground. Like, when you think about it, even you can't be taken the other way, because when you really think about it, love for another is what caused Anakin to fall. Right. So you have to balance it out. You have to feel. You have to feel for somebody, but you but you also have to have the sense enough to let them go if necessary.
Right, and I was going to
say, not be consumed by it.
And I think a good thing to point out would be that while I'm not sure of the details, that I think part of it was because Anakin, like, he loved Padme, but he was not supposed to, and the stress and all that, he didn't know how to deal with it, because when Mara Jade went, I don't think Luke fell like Anakin did, so maybe there's a lesson to be learned from that, because Luke maybe, well, I don't know. Luke had more experience, though. He'd already fallen once or twice.
Right.
So.
Right. I mean, it's all a matter of circumstance.
Mm-hmm. I gotta get to my team again. That's one thing I love about this agent.
Run through the cornfield.
I love the stealth mode. All right, gotta start healing people. No, like when you combine stealth mode with sleep darts, oh, so good. You just bypass almost everything.
Oh, I just like had a vision of you getting to like the Emperor and just like
stealth mode sleep dart.
Yeah.
Walk past.
I win.
Woohoo!
Oh my god. Someone needs to like. Oh my god. If anyone watching this knows how to mod, please can someone do that?
Yes, give the Jedi Knight sleep darts and stealth.
Please, just like make a mod of that and then send it to one of us, please. Or at the very least, like maybe draw a picture of what that sequence would look like. That would be so funny. I
am a little sad that this MMO isn't more popular, simply because I would love another one. Because, like I said, this game does something that no other game has let you do. It would let you and me technically play through each other's stories at the same time, and no other game lets you do that. And I would love for more of that, but I don't think this MMO is popular enough for them to make another one.
It's for them. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I mean, I still think KOTOR is the better game.
I agree. I mean,
like from a story standpoint,
yeah, it's KOTOR. Come on. But yeah. But from, like I said, I'm not a big fan of MMOs, but the stories in these are really good, actually.
Yeah, and the gameplay is pretty decent too.
I would say, now I haven't experienced all of them. I've experienced most of the Sith Warrior and the Sith Inquisitor. I've experienced some of the Jedi Knight, and just what I've experienced now from the Agent. I would still say that the story for these are still better than 80% of the games out there. It's not better than KOTOR, of course, no. But
like right now.
Right, but better than, 80% of the game stories that you get from other games. It's still better, and it's an MMO.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a crowd for something like this. That's definite a fact.
Oh yeah. The company I work with, TGN, they seem to think that Swtor's dead, and I keep showing them that I get so many views on these videos. Swtor's not dead. But I think part of it is, like I said, the story. People like to see the story. They don't really... From what I understand, Swtor is a great single-player game, not so much an MMO.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the story itself actually does kind of have a lot of flaws, but I don't want to get negative in this.
Well, I've heard, yeah, there's some stories that are just suck. They're not worth it. I've heard that the Agent is one of the best stories. That's why I'm doing it, and I've so far really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, did you like make yourself into Thrawn on purpose?
No. Actually, I chose the Chiss mainly because I just wanted to be something different, and it fit the backstory.
Yeah.
I like Thrawn, but he's not Thrawn.
Of course.
Probably has nowhere near the same intelligence.
You know, if they ever make if Thrawn ever makes it to the big screen, you know who should play him?
Who?
Hugo Weaving.
Yes! Yes, he would be perfect. I mean, come on. Perfect. That should be episode 7, 8, 9 right there.
Hugo Weaving as Thrawn.
I'm so sad. I'm so sad that they probably won't do it, but I mean, come on.
I'm sure, I can guarantee you they won't.
But that should have been 7, 8, and 9. The Thrawn trilogy was so good.
I know, but it's so, it takes place way too soon. And if they jerry-rig it, a lot of people aren't going to like that.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, would you really like to see a jerry-rigged, changed-up Thrawn trilogy on the big screen? I wouldn't.
No, I'd rather they not do it than do it wrong.
Exactly. Yeah.
But they could just
but Hugo Weaving, I mean, oh my god. If I knew how to make Photoshop, well, I mean, I should rephrase that. If I was really good at Photoshop, I would totally like Photoshop Hugo Weaving as Thrawn.
Yeah.
If anyone, oh my god, I would love to see a picture of that. Can you imagine? I think he could do it actually, because I think he has the right kind of voice, and I think he actually kind of has the right kind of attitude. What do you think?
I think so. I think Hugo Weaving's one of those. He can do pretty much anything he sets his mind to.
Yeah, but like I just think the way he holds himself and just the way he acts in certain roles, I think that would fit Thrawn the best, at least out of all the actors we currently.
Well,
have
yeah,
at our
like his
disposal.
portrayal of Elrond would actually be really close. Just give him a little bit more of a sense of humor.
A bit.
Which is it's funny to think that Thrawn, he actually does have a sense of humor.
Albeit a varying one.
Kind of a dark one, yeah, but
Yeah.
still. Yeah, I'm holding all judgment on the new movies because they could be great, they could not.
You know, I'm willing to wait as long as I can for quality product. And
Right.
I have
Same
high
here.
hopes, and you know, I even made a video on it.
I have high hopes too. A lot of people are like Disney, but I mean, if you think about it, Disney's done really good with the Marvel.
Yeah, and not only that. I mean, when you think about what Disney has done, I mean, it's Disney is one of the biggest, like, you know, just industries of media, like ever.
Right.
And they, like, I know a lot of people think, oh, hey, Mickey Mouse, oh, hey, Aladdin, all that stuff. It's like, no, Disney has actually made a lot of really mature, really, like, well-made films, or at least, very least, produced them. So, I mean, it's really not that much of a detriment. I mean,
And like
when you really think...
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, just look at Avengers and Iron Man, all those. I mean, those are very adult movies and well done,
Yeah.
and they're done by Disney.
Yeah, and it's not like they have complete creative custody. They're just producing it, at least for the
Right.
most part.
So I have high hopes for the movies as well.
Yeah, I mean, we still have about a year until that.
Until we even hear anything from it, I bet. Yeah.
Well, actually, no, the movie comes out in like late 2015.
Oh man, I'm excited for it. I really am.
Actually, I think pre-production, started recently, like really recently. I want to say.
I'm wondering right now, I'm wondering to myself if I'm gonna be one of those where I try and learn everything I can about it, or if I go into it as blind as possible. I always kind of go back and forth when it comes to things like that.
You know, I'm gonna go into it with as much of an open mind as I can, because I'm expecting it to be completely original.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not gonna be like, oh hey, wait, shouldn't they do this or stuff like that? Like, no, if you go in there with that attitude, you're gonna be disappointed,
Yeah.
because that's just not how it's gonna be. And I'm just gonna go into it, you know what? If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. I'm not gonna, lose sleep over it.
I stopped judging movies before they come out when Heath Ledger came out as Joker. That was the last time I was like, Heath Ledger will never be a good Joker. And then I saw that and I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. I'm never gonna. I'm not gonna prejudge anything.
My point has just been destroyed.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah, everyone was all like, well, because remember, it's like before he did that movie, he was like in A Knight's Tale.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I thought. I was like,
when you look at that role, it's like, really? And then he just delivers his like scary ass, performance, and it's just like, what?
And you're like, dude, this is him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's like the same thing. People are like Ben Affleck as Batman. I'm like, look, I'm just gonna wait until it comes out. Who knows?
I mean,
Ben Affleck could be
think about it.
amazing.
He's an Oscar-winning actor and director with a lot of really good movies under his belt.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see
I am
it.
getting my butt kicked. I'm about to die. There we go.
Run for it. Oh.
That's the problem with these heroics is once you start dying, you all get split up. You start getting your butts trounced.
Definitely. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so
I gotta watch your Kyle Katarn one. I that's one of the few I have not seen yet.
Yeah.
I was very pleased and surprised with the Shock T one.
yeah,
I always
that
enjoyed-
one was one of my early ones.
Well, I always enjoy Shock T, but I just never realized she was that big of a badass.
Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, you don't get put on the Jedi Council
It's true.
if you have subpar skills. I mean, to start.
It's true, and I remember watching the what she did in the cartoon version of the Clone Wars, but it wasn't until you sat down and you really analyzed it that you're like, dude, okay, she was pretty badass. I mean, because like I guess when I watched it, I was like, well, she's a Jedi. All Jedi can do that. And then I look back and I'm like, no, no, they can't.
Yeah, there are some things that just set them apart. It's the little things.
Right. The thing is, though, I didn't know anything about her opponent because I haven't read any of those books.
Yeah, there's so little, on that. But yeah, as far as as far as my versus video goes, like the ones I'm particularly proud of was my Sidious and Vishia one.
Yes, that one was really, really good.
That one I tried.
I have to be honest with you, I kind of knew where that one was going.
Well, here's the thing with versus videos, like even if you can kind of see where it's going, the goal is entertainment.
Right.
I don't think I've had people commenting saying like, okay, yeah, this was fun, but I knew who was gonna win before even clicking. It's like, I mean, should that really discourage you?
No, it definitely doesn't discourage you.
Even if you can kind of tell who could win, it's still like there's still facts, there's still entertainment, there's still music, and even if you could guess, and even if you guessed right, I mean, you were still entertained. At least I hope you were.
No, I was definitely entertained. Like I said, it was one of my favorites. Even though what I think it was is basically just that you are very, very good at choosing verses that are interesting. You're not sure. That one was probably the most lopsided one. But then again, it's Sidious. Who's going to really stand up to Sidious?
And
the thing you put up there was a perfect point of, look, 6 people have faced him. 3 live to tell about it. 1 actually beat him. I mean, come on.
2 live to tell about it.
Oh, 2. Oh, yeah, Yoda. I forgot about Yoda.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I mainly did that one because I was literally getting requests like insanity for that particular matchup. Ever since I even first started doing Versus series, I was getting requests for that one. Like over and over.
My big curious question was
yeah.
Was it that Mace Windu was really that badass? I mean, he would have, if it wasn't for Anakin cutting his hand off, probably would have beaten Palpatine?
That's one of the really big debates. And in my honest opinion, if you read the novel and if you watch the movie in depthly, is Mace Windu strong enough to stand up to Sidious? Yes. Was Sidious holding back? I actually think he was. Because, you see, the only reason Mace Windu was able to last is essentially because his Vapad style allowed him to feed off of Palpatine's own aggression.
Right.
And Palpatine was just so powerful that it was essentially just a big loop.
Oh, so basically he was much better in that fight than he would have been normally because of Sidious.
In some regards, that's one way to look at it.
That's interesting, yeah.
He's still one of the most powerful Jedi ever, but the way he was able to subdue him was because of Vapad, because he was able to draw on the fury of Palpatine, just use it against him.
Now, was that Palpatine when he was in his prime? That was Palpatine at his best? I mean, even if he was holding back.
Well, technically, his most powerful is actually during the Dark Empire series. Because it is established in the Dark Empire series that he got stronger. Oh. But honestly, I still think, is Mace Windu a better duelist than Yoda? In some regards, he is. Is he as strong in the Force? No, he is not. And I think Sidious, if Anakin never arrived, I think Sidious would have killed him. Possibly. It's a very hard thing to answer, honestly.
Yeah, that was the thing. Was Sidious holding back because he wanted Anakin to do something, or?
Well, if you read the novel, it does make it slightly more clear. But even in the novel, it's a bit obscure. It's a very difficult question to answer. Because there's so many little factors, and everyone's talked about that particular battle. It's very hard to gauge.
Right.
I will say though that I don't consider Mace to be Yoda's equal, nor do I consider him to be his superior. Some people say that, Mace is more powerful than Yoda because XYZ. That I do not agree with.
Right.
Because there's so many blatant facts in the way of that, and Mace has even flat out stated that although he's one of the greatest blade masters in the Order, the 2 people who could beat him were Yoda and Dooku.
Oh, Dooku could beat Mace?
I shouldn't say beat, I should say outspar.
Okay.
Because like,
well,
remember,
yeah. So we were thinking along the same lines. I still think that's incredibly impressive because.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dooku. I mean, I think Mace could beat Dooku, but I don't. But it wouldn't be easy.
And it might not be through lightsaber combat alone.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Because like in the novel Yoda Dark Rendezvous, it says that, or was it Shatterpoint? It was one of the two. It was said that the only two people who were able to outspar him were Yoda and were Dooku, at least during that particular time. So it's kind of hard to say.
Right.
Because it's hard to say because even Saisi Teen has been showed to spar with Mace on occasion.
Who is Saisi Teen?
Remember in Revenge of the Sith, he was one of the Jedi that Mace had with him, with the horns.
Oh, okay, yes. The one that died very, very quickly.
Yeah. Even he has been shown to be able to spar with Mace and still last a bit, so consistency is kind of iffy.
That's one thing I never liked, is that everyone looked at that scene and they said, oh my god, look how horribly they sucked and all that. No. You're looking at it wrong.
Again,
it's look
Sidious.
how good Sidious was. It's the other way around.
Yeah, and like, remember, in the novel, actually, Kit Fisto, you know who that is?
Yes, of course. I love Kit Fisto. Actually, I have a replica of his lightsaber and about 3 feet away from me.
Just in case a burglar comes
Just in case. Actually, it's more to defend myself against my cat.
Oh my god. Sorry. Just the image you just gave me.
Actually, I think I have it on YouTube somewhere. No, my cat actually like hates that thing. He will attack it if I turn it on. It's hilarious.
No, but in the novel, Kit Fisto actually lasts like for a decent amount of time against Palpatine. Like he doesn't just die. It's like that battle is depicted very different in the novel than it is in the movie. Like he still dies, but he just doesn't die as immediately.
Which would be very impressive considering that he's a master of a style that is not designed for one-on-one combat.
Yeah.
One of my favorite episodes is of Clone Wars so far was with Kit Fisto.
Lair of Grievous.
Yes. It was so good.
It was very good.
Hang on. Trying to find out if I'm actually done with my quest or not. Let's see. Heroic 4. Yep. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yes. So it's the way it works is kind of difficult to gauge.
It's true. Well, and I mean, and that's the thing. Like, you know, they're fights. It's so hard to tell really who would win or who wouldn't win.
Yeah, you have to look at all the factors, and then you have to look at what actually happens and all that fun stuff.
Very true.
Which is why making multi character versus battles is very hard.
Oh my gosh, yes. I haven't
Because
seen that yet,
I've never done it, but
Great Jedi did one run. I need to watch that one.
Oh, it's excellent. Like it's very, very well done. But I'm amazed he was able to pull it off because it was incredible.
I can only imagine. I need to try and get them on too. I think that would be really fun to have other people as well. Because God knows, I'm going to be doing a lot of leveling. Especially in those.
I forget. What's the max level you could get in this game?
55, I believe.
And you're
I'm
right
level
now?
26.
All right, so you're almost at the halfway point.
Yeah, but the thing is, especially like the last 10 levels. Oh my god.
You had to grind like
takes forever.
Yeah.
It's insane. So here's an interesting thought I had. Okay,
Yeah.
so the Sith, the rule of the two.
Rule of the two?
Sorry, rule of two made them more powerful. However, even with the rule of two, there were still other Jedi Masters who were able to keep up with them.
Yes.
So is it
I've earned my payment.
fair to suggest that maybe overall the light side was stronger?
I would avoid
Yeah.
spending it in public
I mean,
marketplaces.
Again, very circumstantial, but in an overall sense, I mean, I personally myself do believe the light side is stronger, but
Well, because if you think about it from a not a dilution sort of way, that the rule of two that were stronger because it was all concentrated in them.
Right.
So considering that there were still tons of Jedi and Yoda was still that powerful, means that the dilution thing doesn't really apply to them as much.
As much. I mean, I guess that's one way to look at it.
That one, right? I mean, because that's what I was thinking. Now,
Because the dark and light sides of the Force work differently.
I suppose that's true.
Like, you can't... I mean, I suppose you can apply that same basic principle, but, you know, I mean... You know, Yoda and Obi-Wan didn't get stronger when most of the other Jedi were killed.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's true. That's true.
So, again, circumstantial.
Well, and it could also be, too, that maybe because of the light side by its very nature, they actually grow stronger the more of them there are.
Yeah, and essentially, yeah, that's how it works, because, you know, they operate in such different wavelengths. Because, you know, yeah, pretty much. You know, I was about to say something, but, you know, it wouldn't have contributed. Yeah, that's pretty much how it works.
All right, I am going to call it quits for now before my throat dies again.
All right, well, should we... We'll do our perspective sign out.
Yes, I want to say thank you very, very much. Just so everyone knows, basically, I just sent him a PM, and he was nice enough to just respond and agree to do this with me. So I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. You are welcome back anytime. I'm sure that you've made it a lot less boring for the viewers as well. You, sir, are incredibly knowledgeable, and it is a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks for having me, and who knows, maybe I'll be back one day. And this was a lot of fun.
Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right, so everyone else, you guys take care, and then next time you see me, we'll continue more of Vin Lemorin's story. So, woohoo!
And we hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.
Bye. Oh, and of course, everyone check out, I will have the link in probably all the video descriptions that he's in. Check out his videos. They are really, really fun to watch if you're geeky like me. So,
And me.
Yeah, so bye, everyone.
See ya.